Good evening from Washington. I'm Larry O'Connor, and well, the walls are closing in on Joe Biden's presidency. I know I say that every night, and only half the time I'm serious, but things have really escalated here on the classified documents scandal, including an FBI search of his Wilmington, Delaware home. Joining us now to sort of dive into this and talk about what's next, what laws might have been broken, and also why does it seem like the FBI and the Justice Department is treating Joe Biden differently than they treated Donald Trump, is Hans von Spakovsky, Senior Legal Fellow at Heritage Foundation. By the way, a former senior Justice Department official, so he knows how the Justice Department is supposed to operate at times like this. Hans, thanks for joining us.
Sure, thanks for having me.
First of all, what we're hearing reported here about multiple stashes of classified documents that go back to the time when Joe Biden was a senator, which is, what, 13 years ago.
Right.
This is serious crime here, right? I mean, I know people are sort of writing it off as sort of a disorganized situation, or, oh gosh, how did that happen? This is a crime, is it not?
Yes. In fact, remember when the FBI and the Justice Department staged the Mar-a-Lago raid, they cited two federal statutes. These are criminal statutes. One of them is on the retention, removal of classified Defense Department information, national security information, and the other one is simply the removal of government documents, even when they're not classified. Both criminal statutes, up to 10 years in prison.
And let's talk about that raid in Mar-a-Lago for a moment, because we just had an FBI search of the Wilmington, Delaware home on Friday. I'm struck by Andrew McCarthy's headline at National Review: "Why Biden Consented to an FBI Search." Consented? Is that how it works now, Hans? Hey, it's the FBI. Do you mind if we come over and search? Seriously?
Yeah, but think about how delayed this was. You know, supposedly Biden's lawyers discovered this on November 2nd, and yet it's only 3 months later that the FBI and the Justice Department show up to search. Up until then, they were relying on Biden's lawyers to supposedly go through these documents. They should have been there the same day, the same week that they first found out about it.
Biden's lawyer, who doesn't have security clearance, so if he does find confidential top secret documents, he shouldn't look at them. And obviously, he's working for his client, looking out for the best interests of Joe Biden, not the U.S. government. Let's take a look at this quote from Andrew McCarthy's article. It's a really good one, and I suggest everyone read it. If we can bring that up. Remember the timeline. First batch of classified documents found illegally stored in Biden's office November 2nd, 2.5 months before the FBI conducted the search. But then, contrary to the self-reporting, he didn't report that discovery to law enforcement. The lawyers reported it to the White House, which is a political entity, not a legal entity. The White House reported it to the archive. The archive did not immediately report it to the Justice Department. It was only the Inspector General at the archive who discovered it and said, hey, we got to let the Justice Department know. So this whole narrative that the Biden team did everything by the book and they did it right and they immediately notified, that's not at all what happened here. They tried to keep it quiet.
No, that's exactly right. And remember, Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, is what? He directly reports to the president. The president should have immediately picked up the phone and notified the Attorney General, who is responsible for investigating all removals, all problems with classified documents. He should have reported that immediately to the Attorney General, and the Attorney General should have immediately put together an FBI and DOJ team of lawyers to go search. By the way, I mean, this is like a Saturday Night Live episode, constantly finding more classified documents in all these different locations.
Yeah. Well, and and by the way, this is after, you remember a week ago, Biden at a press conference says, my lawyers have looked through the house and they've done a thorough search and they discovered 4 more documents and they've handed them over. Well, a week later, the FBI does their own thorough search and they find another 5 or 6 documents in various places. It could even be more than that, by the way. And here's the other thing that's curious, Hans. We know that there were classified documents illegally stored in the president's think tank office, right? The Penn Biden Center. We know they've got these multiple locations, including the garage at the Wilmington, Delaware home. This morning, the Justice Department said, yeah, we're weighing whether we should search the president's beach house in Rehoboth. What do you mean weighing? Why aren't they already there, Hans?
No, I don't understand that. Again, look, the president right now is the person with the ultimate responsibility for protection of national security. he should be directing the Attorney General to search all of these locations where these documents could possibly be. That is the responsible thing to do. And I'm just shocked that this isn't already happening.
Yeah. And there's also, listen, if this does require further investigation, it could, and we've got a special counsel in place. There could be a grand jury seated in this thing. People have to, I don't know why this town is sort of taking it, shrugging it off, and it's like, oh yeah, so there's a special counsel. When Robert Mueller was named as a special counsel in the Trump administration, it was wall-to-wall coverage for over a week. And then every day, the latest leaks out of that special counsel. You know, there needs to be a chain of custody question here. And by the way, the president was just at his beach house over the weekend. So, I mean, do we think the shredder was brought in, Hans?
Well, I don't know, but look, there are the most important questions that need to be answered are why did Biden have these documents? Why did he keep them? What did he use them for? And who had access to them? And those are all questions the president could answer right now.
You know, that's another thing that's curious about this. You know, the president keeps saying he's done everything by the book. He didn't do anything wrong. He's got the truth on his side. Every time he answers it, he rarely answers a question. But when he does, he pulls out a paper and reads a carefully constructed statement from his lawyers. That doesn't seem like a guy who wants to get rid of this and sort of move on and answer everybody's questions. What's the concern here? Why does he have to read such carefully constructed legal statements?
Well, I guess maybe his lawyers are telling him, well, you know, once you leave the presidency, you could potentially be prosecuted, even though, as you know, that's never been done with a former president. But again, he's currently the president, and the fact that the Justice Department may be looking into this now in no way prevents him from telling the American people what exactly happened. And again, why he had these documents and what he was using them for.
So President Trump took documents from the White House when he was president, took them down to Mar-a-Lago when he vacated the White House. And of course, as we know, for months, there was ongoing conversations with the archive about what he should have and shouldn't have. That led to the raid. How is that time frame, you know, 9 months after his presidency or a year and a half after his presidency, how is that different from here where we see documents that could go back to when Biden was a senator?
Well, again, you know, the National Archives, I can't believe they didn't have a handle on this. I think when this whole thing came up with Trump, they were saying, oh, they'd never had a problem like this with prior administrations. Well, clearly they had. And of course, the big difference between Trump and Biden was, remember, Trump is claiming he declassified these documents before he left the presidency, and he's got the power to do that. Joe Biden, as vice president, and certainly as a senator, did not have the authority to declassify any of these documents.
Why do I think that Dick Cheney is like searching his house right now? Saying, oh, you know, for all we know, he's got a room wallpapered with classified documents. But we'll have to search that out if it ever comes to fruition. Hans von Spakovsky, always good to talk to you, my friend. Thanks for joining us on this. Have I mentioned the walls are closing in on the Biden presidency? Tick-tock, tick-tock. You're watching Salem News Channel. More to come on O'Connor Tonight.